Hello world, Shelly here, and it is time to kick off another Foundation Fest. Yes, 5 days in a row of foundation reviews. It's been a long time coming. It has been a minute. We are going to kick this off with the new release from number 7. This is the Lift and Illuminate Triple Action Serum Foundation. Not to be confused with the Lift and Illuminate Foundation. This has their serum skincare built into the foundation. I would never assume that you can get enough skincare out of a makeup product to be your sole skincare, but I am never opposed to having good ingredients in my makeup. So this retails for $15.99 for 1 fluid ounce of product. I've got it in the shade Cool Vanilla. Comes in 12 different shades as far as I can tell. I'm going to read off of the box because the box seems to have more information than the website. This is enriched with age-defying skincare technology from our highly acclaimed number 7 Lift and Illuminate Triple Action Serum with Matrixyl 3000 Plus, which is an excellent skincare ingredient. Great for anti-wrinkle, contains a ton of peptides, which are really good for your skin, hibiscus, and vitamin A and C to help reduce the appearance of pigmentation. It's a flexible formula that moves with your skin, ensuring that it does not migrate into fine lines and wrinkles. It's got optical blurs and light-reflecting particles to brighten the skin. This is supposed to make lines and wrinkles look reduced, skin look firmer and more lifted, and skin tone look more even. So this sounds like all the good stuff. It also has SPF 15 in it. Looks like it is a mineral-based sunscreen. This is a silicone-based primer. It does have denatured alcohol in it, but it's a ways down the list. That can be a drying ingredient, but very high up on the list is glycerin, which can be a hydrating ingredient, so hopefully these will cancel themselves out to be suitable for dry skin. And let's take a look at this Cool Vanilla shade swatched against a few others in my collection. Let's take a look at some swatches. I do this primarily so that if you know your current foundation match in one of these other foundations, it's easier to narrow down what your shade might be in the current foundation. So the first swatch is today's foundation, the number 7 Lift and Illuminate Triple Action Serum Foundation in shade Cool Vanilla. Second, I've got the L'Oreal Pro Glow Infallible in shade 201 Classic Ivory. Third up, I have the Pacifica Alight Foundation in shade 40 Neutral Fair. Fourth, and I think this is very similar, the CYO Life Proof Foundation in shade 104, which is a pretty good match for me, so I have high hopes for this one. And last up, I've got the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define Full Coverage Foundation in shade F4. Starting out with a 44-year-old face, I have some sun damage I like to cover up. I have pretty deep smile lines, forehead lines. I have enlarged pores on my cheeks, some texture between my eyebrows. That's what I'm trying to get rid of with my foundation. I have already cleansed, moisturized, and sunscreened my face. I will go in on one side with a brand new, not cat-eaten Real Techniques Miracle Complexion Sponge, and on the other side I will use my Sigma F80 foundation brush. We'll see if this applies better one way or the other. I primed with my Strivectin Line Blur Factor. This is blending out nice and easily over that primer. I'm not noticing any scent to it. I looked in the ingredients and I don't see any additional fragrance listed, but it also does not seem to have any kind of real scent to it. Everything's blending out okay. It is clinging a little bit above my eyebrow, but other than that, I think we have pretty light coverage with the sponge. It is canceling out some redness nicely if we compare side to side, but let's see how the brush side goes. I immediately feel like I prefer the sponge application. With the brush, I'm getting a lot of streakiness, a much more dry look to the application. It is clinging to different areas of my cheek here and clinging above my eyebrow, and it's just not sitting into the skin so nicely. I only have a teeny tiny bit of product left, but let's get a little bit more. And I want to try and even this out and sort of smooth everything together using the sponge. That's about half a pump right there. right, let's get a good look at this one. At a distance, I think it looks like a satin natural finish. It looks a little bit more dry up close on the skin. So if I look at the coverage around my mouth, it kind of has that appearance like it's almost turning powdery on the surface, like a matte foundation would. I'm not very happy with how it is on my right cheek, your left side. That's the side that I had used the brush, and I think in a few spots it just looks like the product is sitting on top of the skin. It does not seem to be doing that on the other side, so I think that may have just been the way the brush applied it. I did go over it with more product and the sponge, but it just doesn't look very good. On my temples on both sides, it's a little bit crusty, like it's a little bit cakey and, not blurring out, not smoothing, not settling down into the skin. It's not doing too bad in between my eyebrows. It looks a little bit dry, like it's about to cling to the texture there, but it's not too bad yet. My forehead looks okay. This does not look very good around my hairline. Like it's one of those products that doesn't want to blend nicely into the hairline. It just kind of gunks up along the hairline. And see, as I tap it out, I'm losing coverage and I have bare skin there now. So it's kind of a, I feel like the formula wants to set down to almost a powdery finish. And then if you mess with it anymore, once it starts setting down, it's done. It doesn't want to move. So or it does move and you don't get it back. So I think I'm just going to have to live with it looking kind of cakey along my hairline here, but that is where we are starting out. It's okay, it's not great, it's not terrible. We're going to call the check-in time 2 o'clock. It is 1:58. Let me go put the rest of my face on. I'll be right back. Okay, where to begin? Let's start with concealer. I had used the Pacifica Liquid Cover Full Coverage Concealer, which I have been enjoying since I did that Pacifica try-on video. And I was blending it out with my sponge, and where the wet concealer product touched the now dry foundation product, every place I pounced the sponge just lifted up the foundation. So it was kind of the same thing that was happening along my hairline. So what I ended up doing was putting more concealer on and tapping it in with my finger to prevent it from moving where the foundation was. So I think that ended up working, but it was a challenge. It took me a minute to do that. The rest of my face, I did set just my cheek area and the perimeter of my forehead with the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish because the foundation stayed a bit tacky and I was afraid that my blush bronzer highlight would grip and not blend out smoothly. That seemed to make blending fine. My rest of my products blended fine, but the areas that had powder look really cakey. So this foundation did not take well to being set with powder at all. Everything else then blended fine. Let me tell you what I'm wearing. My blush is, I cannot get enough of this stuff. This is e.l.f. It's the Primer Infused Blush in the shade Always Rosy. I'm loving this color on me. The bronzer I used is the Balm Desert, and my highlight was the e.l.f. the one that I will never know the name of because they don't put it on the packaging. This is in the shade White Gold. If you guys get this highlight and you have trouble getting that sort of top layer off, I don't think this is sprayed with any kind of glaze. I think what you really need with this particular one is to use a more dense highlight brush. So either, my favorite is the Real Techniques, they call it the setting brush, but I use it for highlight. It's in my bathroom because I just washed them. This is the Morphe M501. This one works really well too. You want something that's not too fluffy. You want something that has some density to it. So like this is my Wayne Goss, I forget what the name of this is. He doesn't have it on here. This is the limited edition one that he just had out. This is too fluffy. You're not going to pick up product with a super fluffy brush and this kind of pressed pan. So just use a more dense brush and you'll get some bling. It's in there. It's in there. The eyeshadow, I don't know if you guys are going to be able to tell on camera. That is Ziva's paw print in my highlight. I'm enjoying this palette. It's the BH Cosmetics Zodiac Love Signs palette. I think, looking at the color selection of this palette, there are a lot of shades that are similar to each other. And if you're not the kind of person that appreciates a difference in undertone, you might find that the mattes have too much similarity. I am a person that appreciates the difference in undertone, so I am thoroughly enjoying this. Like, these two shades here look very similar, but this is a more red undertone, this one, and this one's a more brown undertone. So I appreciate that, and that's not too different from the Libra shade, which is more of a dusty, cool undertone, where these are more warm undertone. So I think if you like the BH Cosmetics formula, which I love their eyeshadows, if you're looking at this palette and you think there's too much similarity, there might be if you're not someone that appreciates the differences in the undertones. But if you like having that flexibility of having every version of an undertone that you could possibly need so you can get just the right one when you're putting together a look, you might enjoy this one. I'm loving this palette. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. That is what is on my eyes today. My mascara, another one I'm loving, is the CoverGirl Exhibitionist mascara. I'm loving it primarily because my eyelashes can touch my eyebrows when I wear this. Cray. Yeah. Lip is this new Maybelline line. They're calling it, I think it's called Made for Me, and it's 7 different shades that have been tested across 70 different skin tones to be universally flattering. This is the one Mauve for Me. I think it's very pretty. I've got the red one as well, the red Made for Me, and if you follow me on Snapchat, or I think I put it in my Insta stories as well, you saw me try this on yesterday when I got it at CVS. So these, thumbs up on the concept, of course, because it's nice to just have something that you know is going to work for your undertone no matter what you've got going on. But that is where we are starting out. I'm gonna go get a sandwich. I'm filming this over spring break, and what's it doing? Yeah, it's snowing outside. So I'm gonna go get a sandwich. I've got not much else planned for the day. I'm going to be Marie Kondoing the heck out of my apartment, and that's about it. So I'll be back in a bit with a daylight check-in, and I will, of course, come back at the end of the night to give you guys my final thoughts. Whew, time has gone away from me. Daylight is almost gone. It's just past 6 p.m., so the foundation's been on for about 4 hours now. I did survive a little bit of running outside in the snow, and at a conversational distance, it looks totally fine. You know, it is holding up just fine. I think the color match is pretty good for me. The only thing, you know, if you look up close, you can still see the product sort of sitting on top of the skin on this side. It's a little cakey around my eyebrows, but really not bad. I think at a conversational distance, everything looks fine. Color match is good, so that's where we're at. My skin is feeling a little dry, and I'm starting to get drag lines, so I think it is kind of dehydrating me just a little bit, but that's the 4-hour mark. I'll be back tonight with my final thoughts. 11:13 p.m. That means we are just past the 9-hour mark. Let's take a look at how the number 7 Lift Illuminate Serum Foundation held up. I gotta say, this one had its heyday about 3 hours ago. It is now pretty well broken up just about everywhere. If we zoom in, there's not much coverage left on my chin or my upper lip. The product, it's one of those kinds where it just sort of gunks up and separates when it's breaking down. There's not much left on my nose. My cheeks just have blotches of sort of gunked up, caked up product that, you know, didn't stay in place and is now breaking down. It isn't clinging too bad between my eyebrows. I expected that to get worse, but it looks even worse than it did this morning along my hairline. And the worst part is that fairly immediately, this started to feel really dry. My skin now feels really dehydrated. I have the drag lines going on. I have that sort of dry, crunchy feeling to my skin that I just want to wash this off my face. So for the most part, for the first, say, 6 to 7 hours, I think it looked nice at a conversational distance. I went out to dinner, lunch, I suppose it was. It looked nice for a good part of the day, but 9 hours being broken down this bad is really not very long wear, in my opinion. I generally consider 8 hours to be average. I want a good 10 to 12 out of a decent longer wear foundation, and if it claims 24-hour wear, I want 14 minimum. So that's kind of how I rate the longevity of foundations on me. This one I don't think holds up very well. It's breaking down in not a very graceful way. It is not comfortable on dry skin. It did, however, not settle into my fine lines or my forehead lines, my smile lines. I feel like I had no settling. So does it work for maturing skin? Probably, as long as your skin isn't as dry as mine. My skin gets dehydrated very easily, and this one just wasn't super comfortable. It wasn't the worst thing in the world. It looked okay from a conversational distance, but I had some struggles with it, applying it, and didn't really like how it felt throughout the day. So if I had to give a grade to the number 7 Lift and Illuminate Triple Serum Foundation, I'm going to go C-. I think it works on its claims of not settling into fine lines and wrinkles, but if you've got dry skin, it's really not going to be super great, and it was a little too finicky for my taste, and I'm not a fan of how long it wore. So there you have it. That is my take. Foundation Fest Day 1 in the books. If you enjoy foundation videos and you would like to see more, give me a thumbs up down below. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I post new videos every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Check out my website, geekoutofwater.com. Click the Foundation Fest link. You will find a ranked, sortable, searchable spreadsheet of all 130 plus foundation reviews that I have done over the life of this channel. I'm not going to post the Foundation Fest links until after the fest. I don't want spoilers. So, hang on there. They will end up there eventually after this week is over. But as always, thanks a lot for taking some time out of your day to geek out over makeup with me. Come back tomorrow. We have another Foundation Fest Day 2 coming up. I appreciate your time, and I hope you guys all have an awesome day or night wherever you are in the world. Take care of each other. Bye-bye.